Hey guys, Dan here.
And Frank.
And this is the Mazer Squad podcast. Today we're going to be covering Ultraman Season 2 from Netflix, the anime version. But before that, we're going to be covering just a quick comic review of Godzilla vs. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Let's get into it.
All right. So this is going to be a 5 comic mini-series. First comic came out last month, and the second comic just released yesterday. So hopefully we get those in the mail soon. We'll be able to cover it for the next podcast. But you know, they got right into the plot with this.
I thought they didn't waste time,
and I thought that it made a lot of sense how they went about doing it. Basically, Rita and her gang are in a cave, and she's trying to get to a dimension that doesn't have Power Rangers. Yeah, this is going to be a spoiler review, by the way. So she's trying to get a dimension that doesn't have Power Rangers. So she gets through to one. Tommy breaks it up. He gets sucked into this other dimension with all of Rita's crew, but the other Power Rangers are left behind.
Yeah, they were back with Zordon at the base.
Yeah, and it's not outlandish Power Ranger comic books, and they've even started to introduce it into the mainline live action series. Interdimensional travel is it's nothing to them. The grid, the Morphin grid is just interdimensional, and that kind of explains a lot of things popping up out of nowhere. Even though it's a dimension with no Power Rangers, the Morphin grid is interdimensional, so you don't have to worry about that stuff. So once we get to this dimension with no Power Rangers, Rita quickly finds out that Earth does have a protector, and it's Godzilla in this universe. And we open up on this great shot of Godzilla versus Megalon, and I was not expecting to see.
No, I didn't see that coming at all. I was like, "What? Megalon's in this?"
Yeah, no, I thought we were gonna get like a generic like monster. I didn't think we were gonna get other licensed Toho monsters in here.
I think they're going all out with it, though.
Yeah,
that's coming in the next couple of ones.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, from what I've seen, the next couple issues, at least for the cover art, and they're gonna go big. But I was not expecting a Megalon cameo in this series, and basically, you know, Rita kind of gets here, and she's like, "Oh crap!" She's like, "I left one thing and came into another," but she's like, you know, maybe I'll be able to handle this situation."
Yeah, because she thinks she can control all the monsters because she does it on her terms already. Yeah.
So she quickly gets abducted by these Zillions, which I've seen the cover arts that they've shown, so I kind of knew that was coming, but just to see it, it was just like, it's just like something you'd think about like when you were a kid.
Yeah, no, this is like childhood dream come true right here. Like, never thought this would happen, but it did. It finally happened.
Yeah. So the Zillions are like, "You're not going to be able to do anything. You're our prisoner." She's trying to get them to surrender to her, and she's like, "Oh, I'll control Godzilla." Godzilla's not having any of it. And it's, you know, kind of like your classic crossover. The way that they started this was heroes not recognizing each other. So Tommy kind of brings it upon himself to be like, "Oh, it's this giant dinosaur destroying the town."
Yeah, he destroyed Angel Grove because he sees the Angel Grove sign. He's like, "What happened to Angel Grove? Did I time travel?" He thought it was like a time travel thing. He doesn't realize he's on a different dimension.
Yeah. So he's like, I'm going to summon the Dragon Zord. I mean, yeah, the Dragon Zord. So, you know, he's playing his flute, brings in the Dragon Zord, and again, this is all interdimensional through the Morphin grid, so we don't have to worry about why is there a Dragon Zord in a Earth with no Power Rangers. It just travels through when he summons it.
Yeah, I didn't know that about the Morphin grid. I've been a little out on the Power Rangers lore since.
So on the original TV series, obviously they were stored on Earth. Billy would make them. With these Boom Studio comic books, and then they've kind of adapted it for when they do these giant crossover episodes in the TV series. they kind of just explain it all away with, we just interdimensionally travel now. That's how they kind of explain away everything. It kind of helps flatten out the lore that they can say like, oh, this season happened in a different dimension or a different timeline. And then when they want to cross them over, they just cross them over. It just makes it so much easier.
Yeah. I mean, even the artifact that Rita uses, they didn't even name it. It's just a artifact that they could use to change, go to another universe.
Yeah.
They call it a multiversal artifact, I think.
Yeah.
It's literally what it was called.
Yeah. So we are not showing all the slides in this comic book, obviously, but we're just showing some highlights. But definitely pick this up. It's only a $4 comic book, and this isn't the end. We get to see the entire fight, and at least in my opinion, the outcome was not in question at all. Godzilla completely wipes the floor with Dragon Zord.
Yeah, I mean, he just pulls a Bane and just like smashes him over the back.
Yeah. I think that, you know, I would hope that this didn't upset too many fans, because I'm like, this is kind of the way the Power Rangers always ran. I don't think that they're going to defeat Godzilla, because obviously we're getting a team up. That's why we're doing this comic book. But it would. I don't even think like the Ultra Megazord would do anything to Godzilla. It's gonna have to be a huge team up. You know what I mean? Like, Dragon Zord's not at the power level where, you know, where it could be one-on-oneing Godzilla. You know, they need to come together as a team to maybe even start to do damage.
No, 100%.
Yeah,
which we might see.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's what I'm assuming we're gonna get. But I just love this panel that I'm showing right now, because you just see the fear in Tommy's eyes, because he's like, I don't have any backup. What am I gonna do? And that's when the Power Rangers they travel in, and that's the end of the comic book. Super quick read.
Yes, it was a really quick read. I haven't read a comic book in a while, since the Ultraman ones, and I was like, oh man, I forgot how quick these things go.
Yeah, so I'd say it's definitely worth picking up. It's you can get it at your local comic book store. I think it's like $4 per issue, and then you can even get it digitally for around the same price.
Yeah.
So definitely worth the price of admission.
I'm hooked on these cover arts too that they're doing for this. That Freddie E. Williams II is just like incredible. He's just like killing it with his artwork. I mean, I'm obsessed. I'm usually, when I get comics, I'm not like, all right, I'm gonna get all the covers. I'm like, all right, I like this one cover, but this is like, they all look good. I want them all.
Yeah, you know, they are.
I've never been that way.
Yeah, they're all really great, and like we said, issue 2's out now, so if you want to read it, you can.
It just came out yesterday, or the 27th, or Wednesday. I don't know when everyone's going to be listening to this, but Wednesday the 27th it came out. Yeah,
and then also on the same day, Godzilla Rivals King Ghidorah came out.
Yeah, and these Godzilla one-shots have been really good stories. They've probably been like the best Godzilla comics we've had in a little while, since Rulers of Earth. I mean, there hasn't been much since Rulers of Earth, but the one-shots were really good. They had the last Godzilla series IDW did was Gods and Monsters, I believe it was. No, Monsters and Protectors. It was more like kiddie. I don't want to say kiddie, but it felt more kid-oriented. It followed like a kid that had a YouTube channel, and it was pretty much retelling his story across 5 issues. That seems to be the new thing with a lot of comics now. They all do these 5-issue story arcs. They end the series, and then they do like a sequel series to the previous 5-issue series. So I have a feeling this is going to be a one-time deal. You never know, they might do a Godzilla vs. Power Rangers too, but
I think it probably depends on how well this does.
I think this is going to be doing amazing, because everyone is like, this is a childhood dream come true right here. I mean, that cover that they just showed for the 5th issue pretty much sums it up. It's just a kid playing with a Godzilla figure and another kid playing with a Power Rangers Megazord figure. And yeah, that's what the series is right there.
Yeah, and like, if you're listening to this podcast, I can guarantee you probably did that as a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that wraps it up with Godzilla, and we're going to be getting into our Ultraman Season 2 review. But before we do that, we just want you guys to give this podcast a like, subscribe, or review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to. Our podcast is hosted over at anchor.fm/Major Squad, but it's on all major podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple, Google Podbean, whatever you go to, you can find us easily on those platforms. Yeah, so we're gonna get into the Ultraman Season 2 review now. We're gonna start with a spoiler free, and then we'll let you guys know when the spoilers are coming. So if you want to tune out, you guys can tune out, and I'll put a timestamp on the video version of this so you can skip ahead, and I'll put in the description of the podcast what timestamp to jump ahead to if you want to skip all the spoilers and just get to our final thoughts. Yeah, so do you want to start off with the what are your thoughts on Season 2?
Well, Season 2 to me didn't feel like a season. It felt like they took a 2.5-hour movie and they just chopped it up. I mean, the season takes place over like what, a day and a half, so versus the previous season where it was also double the length to the previous season, but the previous season just took place over definitely a couple days, maybe weeks.
Yeah, I would say probably, I would say definitely at least a couple weeks, if not months, just because there was a whole mystery. There were rushed storylines in the first season too. It was
yes,
there was like
absolutely.
I'd say like the first arc-ish was like the first 8 episodes, and then the second arc was the last 4 episodes. If you want to say that there was it was like a mini arc in the middle of the first arc, definitely like the whole intro story. But I felt like it was a much longer narrative, with characters coming in and coming and going and things like that. But
yeah, I mean, this second season, they just seemed like, boom, here we go, and this guy's here, that guy's here.
Exactly.
Like, they got right down to business. 6 episodes. It was still good though. I liked it. But like I said, to me, it felt like a movie, and I think easily you could watch it like a movie.
Oh yeah, I watched this in one sitting, without a doubt, and it wasn't even a hard task.
Yeah, 2.5 hours, you're done.
Yeah, I think we had lunch and we started watching it right away, and then we were done, and we still had time to like do chores and stuff before we had dinner. Like it was a quick and easy watch.
And it was enjoyable though.
Yeah, I kind of sometimes wonder what the production was, because obviously the first season came out in 2019. We're 3 years later, and all they came up with was 6 episodes. I gotta say a couple things though. The animation was much smoother in this than it was on the first season. The first season, the animation was really fluid during the fights, but a little choppy on the in-person. And this was always buttery smooth the entire time. I might be in the minority, but I actually enjoy the choppy look. It wasn't as bad as Into the Spider-Verse, which even that I like. But the slight choppiness kind of even helped with watching the dub, because the lip flaps, you don't have to worry about lip flaps as much, because you're like it's a little choppy to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the lip flaps isn't really that big of a thing too in the series, because a lot of the times, most of the time, they're in the suits too, so it's not terrible. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of dialogue scenes, but yeah, a lot of times it's just, that's the great thing about the series that I liked, is that they don't, I mean, I'm not saying that they waste time with the dialogue, but they're pretty much always getting straight down into the business. Like, something's always going on.
There's definitely, especially with this shorter season, there was a lot of show don't tell.
Yeah.
Some of it to the detriment of storylines, and some of it to like, just like, why do we have to tell you or explain this to you? Like, you're seeing it happen, which was really great. I would assume that a lot of this was affected due to pandemic and Japan having frequent lockdowns,
yes, I'm sure.
where they'd be really good and then they'd be really bad again. Even till recently, that they've been hit.
Yeah, they're still locking down, but it is what it is.
Yeah,
we'll get back there to normal eventually.
Yeah. And then I guess we'll cover the season 3 news at the end of the spoiler section of this. So I think we're gonna go. Is there anything else that you want to say, or think we should go into spoilers now?
I mean, overall, it was a great season. I mean, like I said, it felt like a movie to me, and yeah, it was a great story. I mean, they introduced characters that they gave them their time. Nobody felt too shoehorned in there. I mean, but yeah, it was done well. It was done really well. I think if you watch the first season, you'll definitely enjoy this.
Yeah.
If you haven't watched the first season and you're just an Ultraman fan, even an anime fan, it's definitely a good show to watch. Like, it's nonstop action from beginning to end.
Definitely. Yeah, with them having to fit 3 new Ultras in a span of 6 episodes, and it's really done almost like one every 2 episodes you get a new Ultra. One of them is actually back to back, so I think the second episode we get a new Ultra, and then the third episode we get a new Ultra, and then the last Ultra we get, I think it's the last episode we finally get the new Ultra. I don't want to get into spoilers, but yeah, they really go, and they do it naturally. It's not it doesn't feel completely shoehorned. Only one of them felt shoehorned, in my opinion.
All right.
Yeah, so I think we'll get into spoilers, because then I can start talking about who I thought was completely shoehorned in.
Let's do it.
All right, so click the time code up above if you want to skip these spoilers and just go to our final thoughts and the season 3 news for this series. But we're gonna get right into it. Basically, what's going on right now is there's this alien race, the Aquarians, and they're working for this other alien group. They're kind of working under duress. They have to kidnap these humans to kind of sustain their own population, but they don't really seem to be wanting to do it. They're kind of being made to.
Yes. Yeah. Apparently, it seemed very vague. They're like, we need to kill to live, is what the water. They were the Waterans, I believe, actually.
Yeah, the water.
Not Aquarian.
Yeah, like it had something to do with water.
Yeah, but it's spelled WAD, like wad, but it sounds like water, kind of. I was like, well, I had to like Google that. Like, what is that pronounced? It's Waterans. WADRIAN. I think.
Yeah, and I'm sure I'm gonna feel completely stupid and realize that they're like a villain race from an Ultra series that I haven't watched yet.
I've never heard of them, and I did some Googling, and I was like, I feel like I've never heard of that race, and I don't think they existed. They were something new.
Yeah, because the season 1 had so many throwbacks to Ultra series that aren't canon to this series. And this series, the only thing that happened was presumably Ultra Q, definitely Ultraman, and then after that, anything that's referenced is just a reference and not an actual continuation or acknowledgement of that series.
Yeah.
Only Ultraman season 1 is canon to this.
Yes.
So like the whole thing with like Yapul and Ace Killer, and like I haven't seen Ace yet, so I didn't know those were all Ace references.
Yeah. Yeah. So with this season, like it basically starts off, I mean, we're going to go into the plot here. So it starts off basically a group of like a mass disappearance happens in New York City. And we cut to Japan, where the photojournalist Kotaro is arriving after investigating that disappearance, and he thinks he's got a lead on it, but he's not 100% sure. So as he meets his girlfriend, who's furious with him, they've been walking out of the airport, and they're in a taxi on their way home or their apartment, wherever they're going, and the traffic just stops, and everyone's running away en masse. And there's an alien. I still can't figure out what this alien's a reference to. He looks like a giant tree or log, basically, with 4 eyes, just stomping through Japan. Big guy. we'll go 2 stories tall maybe. He's not kaiju size, but he's a big guy.
Yeah.
He's just destroying it, just wild, out of control. Shinjiro happens to be meeting with Serena at the time, and he's the nearest to it. So he goes over there, is fighting this alien. Kotaro, who we were talking about earlier, he tells his girlfriend, I think we should take some cover and get out of eyesight. So they're kind of hiding in like
where you'd
go
to
go to the subway. They're kind of out of sight. So he's testing out this theory. So Shinjiro's fighting him. He seems to be doing well at first. He thinks he got him, but he's just getting his ass kicked. And then Moriboshi shows up on the scene, and it's an alien that Moriboshi knows. He kind of shows up and he recognizes him and he goes, "Oh, you, like, why are you doing this?" Like, he knows that this alien is normally not like this. So he's a little confused about what's going on, but he jumps in. They take down the alien. Everyone's celebrating and cheering, jumping around, taking pictures of them. But then the alien gets back up and whacks Moriboshi away, I believe. And then Shinjiro's just about to take down this alien. And then we cut back to Kotaro in the subway tunnel over there watching. And he spots these group of ladies in like French maid outfits, and they're all wearing masks. And he kind of sees them like grouping up like they're planning something. The main commander kind of points them where you can see the commander's got blue skin, so you know she's an alien. You don't know what's behind the mask of the other ladies. Shinjiro's about to hit his final blow on this alien, and all of a sudden, boom, everyone in Japan has now disappeared. But Kotaro, who thought he was fine, and Moriboshi. Why didn't Moriboshi? Oh, he was in the bus.
Yeah,
Moriboshi got knocked into a bus, so he had a bus on top of him. So he was out of sight.
So the way that this disappearing technology works is if anyone that has a camera pointed towards them will disappear.
To the internet. Yes, and
connect to the internet. Yeah,
yes,
it disappears.
Taro's a photojournalist, so he had his camera on him.
But it's a film camera. Well, actually, it was a digital camera. It just wasn't connected to the internet.
Yeah.
So he's trying to get to Moriboshi, who's just like I'm out of here. Like, he just realized everybody's missing. He just goes, I'm out of here.
And all that's left of Shinjiro is his armor. He sees Shinjiro just standing there in the last pose that he was in, and he goes to touch him, and the helmet just rolls off his head, and it's just an empty armor.
Yeah. So, Kotaro's trying to be like, oh, I think I know what's going on. And Moriboshi's just always forever curmudgeon, and just goes, you can talk to a police officer, and just leaves.
Yeah, I thought that was so odd on his part. Like, literally, there was just 2 survivors just show up, only 2 survivors in the whole damn place. It's like, I think I know what's going on. And you'd be like, well, how the hell did you survive? Instead, he's like, yeah, you just go talk to the police about it. Like,
I'd buy it because Moriboshi.
It is.
He's not a nice person.
But, like, I don't know. Like, he seems like a thorough guy, though. Like, the dude clearly survived, so he kind of had to know something, right? Like,
I guess.
There was no other quote-unquote survivors.
I guess, but I just chalk it up to Moriboshi's just doing Moriboshi things. So Kotaro goes to further investigate, and we get a kind of a glimpse at Jack, who's also now back in Japan. Last time we saw him, he was kidnapping a pool. He's now back in Japan, and he's investigating why they had a big disappearance in New York. Jack's been in America is basically the what we're supposed to infer from this season. They don't tell you anything. He just shows back up. He doesn't tell you where he's been, but you're supposed to infer that he's working for the United States government in some capacity, or some type of Science Patrol US.
Yeah, I mean, he also works for the Star Cluster Council too. We found out at the end of the first season. When he kidnapped your pool, quote unquote kidnapped, and now they're like buddies.
I was gonna basically get to that later on, but like, your pool's like his man in the van now. Like, he builds the suits, and gives him all this cool tech and gives him intel, and they never address him being kidnapped or anything like that. Yapul doesn't even reference like, hey, remember that time you threw me in a helicopter? It's not like, or it might be like, I'm not necessarily in America because I want to be.
To make it look like a kidnapping. Like, maybe they're like, oh, we gotta make it look like he got kidnapped. Yeah. I don't know. It was like a...
Or maybe, you know, Jack knew more than he was letting on and told Yapul, like, hey, sorry, I had to kidnap you, but this is the reason why I'm investigating this. They don't explain anything. I'm hoping we get something next season.
Yeah. I mean, like, I know there's a manga, but it almost feels like, well, this season's completely off the track of the manga now. The show has become its own thing, separate from the manga.
Which I'd honestly rather have, because if it was just following the manga, then I'd just read the manga, you know?
Yeah. Like, I almost feel like now they should kind of do a comic to, like, kind of fill in the gaps in between, but, like, the manga already exists, so I doubt that's going to happen, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Unless they do a spin-off show. That's my other hope, is that maybe they'll do a spin-off show. Because the way it's going, it seems like it could totally work a spin-off show.
Yeah. So, just to continue on, Kotaro is just continuing to investigate these strange happenings. He finds out where those French maid dressed looking women work.
Yeah, they were literally like right there. They're like, oh yeah, here, we're just stepping out. They're like hanging out in front of our building. Like they made everybody disappear. They're like, get off our lawn, and like they just went back into their house. Well, there wasn't a house. It was like a
club.
Was it? It was like a club.
It was a club
that nobody's allowed in, apparently.
Well, it's like a not a gentleman's club, but like a private club.
Yeah.
So you have to be a member to get in, and there's like almost nobody that's a member.
And they're the only members.
Yeah. So
it's a front.
Yeah. So it's later in the night. He gives his girlfriend the camera to go talk to the Science Patrol, because the Science Patrol is still there.
Yeah.
And he goes and investigates. They kind of catch on that they're going to be had, the Waterins. So they basically go send a hit squad to go make the girlfriend disappear. And Kotaro's kind of just there, kind of gathering information, and
he discovers they're aliens. Most of the French maids are dudes.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know if that was in the I didn't get to watch the Japanese dub yet, so I don't know if that was just an American thing that they did, or you know, if they're just aliens that are shapeshifted and they're like, oh, this is how we have to look to blend in if we're in a nightclub.
Why they never the henchmen never like actually revealed like their true form. They were like they wore the French maid dress the whole series. Like
I think it's a constraint of probably just the series as a whole. You know, it was a 3-year development time, and I think that they probably ran into some issues.
Yeah.
But anyway, they go to make the girlfriend disappear, and something goes wrong. So they don't know
malfunction. The
where she went.
The teleportation technology kind of just malfunctions. She teleports away, but not to where the other people have been taken. Yeah, she kind of just like disappears into nothingness, and obviously Kotaro freaks out, and they go to make him disappear as well. And that also malfunctions, but turns him into a giant fire monster. Yeah, that's basically what he becomes. He's basically like Johnny Blaze. Yeah. But then also he has like the spirit of his girlfriend with him now. Yeah, he's like seeing her and everything. So I don't know if like this monster that he's become is like, he's like in some sort of like, I don't know the science behind it. He's in... When he becomes a monster, he could sort of see the dimension or whatever plane she got teleported to. Is my theory. Yeah, that's basically what I was thinking. Or like her soul got somehow transported to him, but because she was like fiery, they don't really explain it. What you said probably makes the most sense. Yeah. But anyway, he starts going on a rampage. He's burning up the whole town, and we get introduced to Ultraman completely jacked out of his mind. Yeah.
We got Hulkbuster, Ultraman, whatever you want to call him. I like the new suit design because, you know what, we're getting Zafi later on in the series, and are we gonna have 3 Ultras on this 6-man team look almost the exact same way?
Yeah, it definitely mixes up the look of the team. It throws in some variety.
Yeah, and plus this man in the first season is a giant. He's probably like in scale of the series, probably like at least 7 foot, if not 7.5 feet tall. Yeah, he's a really large man.
Yeah, I don't know if he's Japanese.
No, he's American.
He's American, so like he's a big guy. I mean, Americans are big guys. Japanese people are usually a little smaller than Americans, so he kind of towers over most of the cast.
He was comparable in size almost to that kaiju in the first season.
Yeah, he wasn't as tall as that kaiju.
No, not as tall.
He was going toe to toe.
But that kaiju was like 10 feet tall at least.
Yeah.
So he's a big guy.
Yeah.
And he's like, they don't really explain it that well in the series. I don't know if he's like part Neanderthal or something. That's why he's so strong.
They said he's a genuine human. And the other thing is he has his bracelet is the bracelet that in the original Ultraman, Return of Ultraman series, Ultraman Jack, he gets that bracelet from Ultra 7 when he's almost about to die because I believe he was getting pulled into the sun actually because he got too close to the sun, that the gravitational pull of the sun was pulling him in there and he was getting weak. So Ultra 7 kind of just like does like a flyby. It's like, here, here's this bracelet. It's gonna give you some extra powers, some extra skills, and he kind of just flies away, and Ultraman Jack just takes off. So the bracelet that Jack wears on this show, he uses it almost like a communicator. It hasn't shown any ability enhancements. It's kind of just like almost like a little Easter egg, if anything.
Yeah, no, I mean, he uses it basically as like his like communicator, and I think he summons the suit with it, but like,
oh yeah,
nobody else really has anything that summons their suit except for
but he had that
Taro.
Bracelet. The thing is, he had that bracelet in the first season, but I guess he could
have had it changed,
enhanced,
because we know now that whatever resources Jack has given Yapul, it has given Yapul the ability to go far beyond his season 1 ability to make suits.
Yeah, way above and beyond.
Yeah, so Jack's on the scene. He subdues Taro basically by giving him a new suit that Yapul had designed, and that's the Ultraman Taro suit.
Yeah.
It vents out his heat. He doesn't blow up, doesn't destroy the entire city.
Yeah.
And
Taro's was basically going to go into like almost a meltdown thing and like blow up like miles and miles of the city. So there was going to be casualties, so locking him in the suit was the only way to save him.
Yeah. So we go over to the next episode, and Kotaro's kind of just waking up in Jack's apartment because he doesn't know really what happened. He doesn't think that any of it's real to begin with, and Jack kind of has to be like, yeah, all that happened. You turned into a giant fire monster. I had to put a suit on you. Your girlfriend's transported away, probably dead. Like, and this episode is basically Taro and Jack working together to investigate what happened, and Moriboshi and the SSSP working together simultaneously to both come to the same conclusion.
Well, Taro wasn't really working with him at first. He kind of wanted to work with them, and Jack's like, no, this is out of your league. He's like, you got to learn to take care of yourself first with this whole fire monster thing inside you. And while Jack's talking to Yapul, Taro kind of just steals the little transformer device there. I don't know what you would call it.
Yeah, it's the same one that he has from his original series. I forget the name of it.
I know they call Ultraman's a beta capsule. Ultra 7's got the Ultra Eye. I don't know what Taro's is called. But he steals it, takes off with the suit. He has his own lead on where to find some aliens. So he starts going down to the docks to beat up some aliens to try to get some answers to find out where his girlfriend is and where everyone else was taken. That's when Jack shows up to give him a hand.
And then Moriboshi also shows up, and the three of them clear house, and they decide, Moriboshi's like, oh, you're that guy I blew off. And he actually admits, he's like, we probably would have gotten here a lot sooner if I would have just listened to you.
Yeah. So all this is going on down by the docks, but meanwhile, I bet everybody's wondering right now, they're like, oh, what are we on, episode 3 right now?
We're at the end of episode 3.
Yeah.
Episode 3 flies, not that much happens in it, but it basically flies by.
Yeah, but everyone's probably wondering right now, we're talking about 3 episodes, where's Shinjiro? He got teleported in the first episode. Well, we get glimpses, very short glimpses of him throughout the first 3 episodes. He's in... I don't know.
He's in and out a little bit. He's been knocked unconscious. He doesn't really know what's going on.
Yeah, in the second episode, he's in like a field where everyone's almost like kind of like he's floating in like a field wherever they teleport him to this plane. Everyone's frozen and floating in space, but because he's got Ultraman in him, he's the only one that's awake. So he starts flying around trying to find somewhere he could go. He finds Rena, because Rena was there at the time and she got teleported, so he's trying to wake her up. And then when they figure out that they abducted an Ultraman, they kind of knock him out and they pull him out. And now he's like in a restraint, and he's kind of watching the main villain, Maya. Well, she's not the main villain. She's the queen that's working for the main villain, which is the Black Sun.
Yeah.
I did a little research. Like I said, I'm only on Return of Ultraman right now. The Black Sun is not mentioned until some of the later series, and from what I could see, the Black Sun's just a planet where a couple of aliens come from. So he did have like a group of different aliens that seemed to be like his little buddies or henchmen, but he's kind of a new character as well.
Yeah.
But he also states at the end of, was it the second episode? When did he make his declaration?
It was the end of the second episode.
Yeah, he states that he wants
half of the human
population turned over to him by the end of the following day. Is that correct, right?
Yes, or he'll destroy half of the human population.
Yes.
So, I don't know. It's kind of a weird threat. I don't know. A little convoluted.
Yeah. Give me half or I'll kill half. Like.
Yeah. But, you know, that was the plot that they went with. You know, I think Ultraman's filled with a bunch of really weird alien invasion plot lines, so this kind of just fits in.
that's all Ultra 7 was. Every episode was an alien invasion. I said he's my favorite Ultra, but this series did get a little repetitive. The Ultra 7 series, the original one from way back in the day, it got a little repetitive. It's like, can they just be like flying by and just be like, yeah, screw it, we're gonna just blow it up? Like, nope, everything's was an invasion.
Yeah. So we do get some our first look at Seiji, and he's with Bemular, and it looks like he's probably been getting trained or just recovering. They don't really say what he's been doing in this time since.
I mean, last time we saw him, he was basically dead.
Yes.
He had a hole through his chest. He lost both of his artificial arms. He was basically dead. Yeah.
So Bemular's basically just says, hey, why don't you just go up there and go get a Shinjiro, and I'll just go disappear for the next rest of the series until the end. Basically, Bemular doesn't want to interfere, is what I've basically gathered. Is Bemular wants to see if these Ultramen can protect the Earth. I don't think he wants to interfere. When he has to, he will. but I think he's very against interfering. I think he only wants to help when he absolutely has to.
Yeah, he's like a watcher.
Yeah, basically, and just coming in when he needs to, but quickly getting out.
Yeah.
So the next couple episodes, the second half of the series, basically what happens is they learn how to reverse the whole cell phone tech, and they're like, we're just going to set off this giant bomb and kill all the Ultramen that are down there, because it's kind of revealed now that they want to capture all of the Ultramen.
But their main focus is actually Shin Hayata.
Yeah, but they don't know how many Ultramen are on Earth.
No.
They think that it's just 2.
Yeah, they think it's just Hayata and Shinjiro.
And then they're like, oh, it's 3, which was, Ultra 7. And then they don't know about Jack and Ace and Taro. So, like, they're always surprised whenever they see a new Ultraman coming in. They're like, what, there's more?
Now there's 2 of them.
Yeah. But, well, we start to get a little bit more of the alien plot because you start seeing Shinjiro more in the second half. And you kind of get a turn from the Waterin Queen. They slowly kind of break her. And she's like, oh, you're right. There's definitely a way that we could solve this without violence.
But she's like the last of her race. It's just her and like her 2 henchmen. So she's just like, she's seen enough death that she's just desperate. She's like, we gotta do something to save my race, but
yeah,
don't go.
Yeah. So, they kind of finally break her down, and she's like, okay, I'm gonna help. At this point, Seiji has made it into the space station and has kind of like been sneaking around a little bit.
Yes, and when Black Star finds out that she's gonna kind of help them out and reverse all the people that she saw teleporting, he just kind of kills her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He kind of has like a little like fine, I'll do it myself thing. Like he goes to the SSSP. He kidnaps Shin Hayata.
Yeah, he like sort of splits himself because he's at that point he's invading the SSSP, and he's up there on the space station. What did they call that thing? The Golden Fortress, they were calling it.
Yeah.
He's up on the Golden Fortress,
and he's in his little chair.
He's everywhere. This guy.
Yeah.
So he kills Maya, who's the queen of these alien Waterin. She's trying to push the button to free everyone, but like Seiji fights him, but loses his arm.
Yeah, he loses his arm to like this like octopus brain thing.
Yes.
And it's just like, really, to him? I was like, you couldn't wait till he gets to the final fight, or he fights one of the bigger henchmen. Yeah. He just loses his arm immediately.
Yeah, that alien, it was like a take on like the alien Chibul from Ultra 7, I believe.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm like, this guy looks familiar. I'm like, I've definitely seen him. And yeah, he was in an episode of Ultra 7.
Yeah.
That was a cool episode too. I believe he disguised himself as like a toy maker, and he basically was like attacking people with toys, if I'm correct.
Yeah. I haven't seen it yet. I'm still I'm still way earlier. I'm so far behind. But one of my favorite moments happens before this fight, and Seiji basically helps Shinjiro get off the station, but he doesn't give him his suit. So he just throws him into like the hangar and just opens up the airlock and just shoots him out into space.
Yeah.
And like the whole time Shinjiro's like, no, please don't, and then Seiji just like, bye, and he's like waving bye.
Yeah.
And just shoots him off the spaceship.
Yeah, he's like, are you sure this is gonna be safe? He's like, yeah, it'll be fine. He's like, you should breathe. But yeah, he was fine.
Yeah, he ended up being fine. He burned up a little bit on the re-entry into the atmosphere, but he got his suit back mid-entry to atmosphere, so he's okay.
And meanwhile, now that Shinjiro's back, his dad went to go fight Black Star while he's invading the Science Patrol in his old suit, and he gets taken by Black Star.
Yeah.
So now Shinjiro's back and Hayata's gone.
Yeah. So from there, basically, they've run out of their 24-hour window to return everybody. So Black Star's like, okay, we're invading, which is perfect because they wanted to go and save Shin Hayata anyway. So they were going to that ship regardless.
And also, at that point, Maya had finally hit the button in her last dying breath to return everybody. So everyone got returned. So Black Star's got nothing to lose. So he's just like, screw it. I lost the guys I took already. Now I'm going to go down there and we're going to cause havoc. Yeah.
And now if all this kind of seems... We haven't exactly covered this season exactly 100% in order. That's not the point of this. Is more of just to say like what our thoughts on it. But if this sounds like a little hectic and a little all over the place...
It kind of was.
It kind of was. This happened basically in like an episode and a half. And then the next episode and a half is the final fight.
Yeah.
It is an extremely abridged season. And again,
Yeah.
it is more akin to a anime movie where they kind of have to, they build up the villain and then like the last 15 minutes they're like, okay, we're getting this final fight in because we have to wrap.
Yeah.
That's kind of how this season felt. But they took, while you were still rushing, they still kind of had little moments in there, and it was all really appreciated. There's all little nods. I appreciated, I don't know if that's just like a sound that Tsuburaya uses or if Toho gave them permission to use, but in the earlier seasons of Ultraman, I know that they used to use the King Ghidorah sound for like phones and stuff like that. Like Jack's bracelet makes that noise, and you know they still took their time to fit little nods in where they could, and that's how you could tell. Like I know some people might be like, oh, they slapdashed this season together and threw it up on Netflix. Nah, I think this was more of a product of the circumstance, but they still did what they could where they could do it.
Yeah, Netflix was probably like, listen, we're giving you 6, you got to cram it into 6.
Yeah. Which is probably why they decided to go with the story like this versus really progressing the main storyline super well. We've kind of got main storyline at the beginning and at the end of the season. Anyway, just to get back to now the final fight. All 5 Ultramen have now gathered together, and they're going to go fight this giant spaceship that's going to be destroying Earth.
Yeah, and the spaceship basically comes down and merges with a second part. And it's now they call it, you know, like I said, they're calling it the Golden Fortress, but it's really a reference to Mighty Joe from Ultra 7 back in the day. It's everyone, if you're an Ultraman fan, or you've seen Mighty Joe all over, King Joe, not Mighty Joe, King Joe, all over the place. I'm thinking Mighty Joe Young, King Joe, and it's basically a giant robot, and that's basically what the space station turns into, is a massive, like this thing is way beyond kaiju size. I mean, this thing is tower.
Yeah, it's like the size of like maybe like a couple city blocks.
It could probably go toe to toe with Godzilla Earth. We're talking probably. It's big.
Yeah, it's pretty big. Like it's towering over skyscrapers.
We'll go Godzilla Earth or Ultima between there, I would say.
Yeah, and it's going straight for the SSSP. Yeah. So it shoots this giant beam at the SSSP, and out of nowhere, because he knows that they can't handle it, Bemular comes, shoots a Specium Ray, but not only does he doesn't destroy this spaceship this time, it actually knocks him.
Yeah, it takes him out.
So
it doesn't kill him, but
it doesn't kill him, but it does knock him. It took, you know, I'm shooting a ray that big took a lot out of him, but you know, he gets knocked, and basically that's their way of writing him out of this final fight. They're like, no, we're not using Bemular as a catch-all just to end all the final fights.
Yeah,
they're gonna have to take care of this themselves this time. So they split up into 3 different groups.
Yeah, you got to remember, Hayata's still on board. This thing is stomping through the city. Seiji's still on there, and now all we have on the ground still is just Taro, Jack, and we also have Shinjiro's there, and Moroboshi. So Seiji and Hayata on the Golden Fortress. The rest are on the ground. So Shinjiro goes back onto the Golden Fortress for a rescue mission. Meanwhile, Yapul informs Jack that they got a half hour before this thing's cannon recharges, and this time Pendler is not around to block it. So Seven decides he's going to be the one to go head first to destroy the cannon.
Yes. Yeah, he said, now's my opportunity. So the groups are Moroboshi by himself to destroy the cannon, completely by himself. We got Taro and Jack to kind of take the whole machine down from the inside, and then Seiji and Shinjiro is going to meet up with Seiji on the inside and rescue his dad. Those are the 3 missions that they have to complete in this final episode. We get an awesome fight with Moroboshi and one of the aliens. It is probably one of the best fights in the series so far, which is pretty high praise. On the way to the fight, Moroboshi gets like teleported this gun that's going to help destroy the cannon, but obviously he doesn't get a chance to use it because he gets into this fight with this alien, and it is just a drag out brawl. The 2 of them are hitting each other, getting really critical hits on each other.
Stabbed.
Yeah. Moriboshi's like on death's door, and he beats this guy in the most badass way because it's Moroboshi. And he destroys the cannon all by himself.
And the cannon like blows up, and you think, oh, Moriboshi's just bleeding out, and now he's in the middle of this massive explosion. So everyone kind of assumed him dead.
Yes. So it cuts over to Taro and Jack, and they're on the ship, and Jack's fighting the second henchman of was it Black Sun?
Black Star.
Black Star, sorry. And I think the Black Suns is a Star Wars crime syndicate.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's taken out another heavy, so they're just having a complete just brawl, just 2 heavies just going at it against each other, and Taro's kind of just fighting all these smaller henchmen guys. But Taro's cool though, because he has his flame abilities, and he's kind of like doing like finger pistols and like shooting people.
Yeah. He's just got fire going through him, so he's just like lighting everybody up in his path. Anyone in his way, fire.
Yeah.
But all the henchmen, they're all alien Bado, I believe is Bado, I believe where they're pronounced. They've appeared throughout the Ultra series. They've been in Ultra 7. They've been in Geed, RB, Taiga. So their alien race has been around in a lot of Ultra series. So they serve as the henchmen for this series.
Yeah. And you know, they're on their way to kind of destroy the ship from the inside. So Taro's kind of running ahead while Jack's taking out this heavy, and from there, after we're done with that Jack fight, it cuts over to what Seiji and Shinjiro are doing, and they've gotten into the little throne room area, I guess you can call it, and they are releasing Shin, and they just get absolutely swarmed with those henchmen.
Yeah, the alien Bado.
Yeah, you know the name better than I do. And like it looks like it's kind of the end because Shinjiro is kind of beat up. Shin is completely gassed.
He's got one arm.
Yeah. Well, no, Shin, the original Ultraman.
Yeah, Shin, yeah. Oh,
he's just completely gassed because he's been getting tortured and he's all tied up and stuff. Seiji's got one arm, and Shinjiro had to fight his entire way there. You know, but you know who doesn't have who isn't using any excuses? Moriboshi.
Nope.
Because he just comes out of nowhere and just kills basically everybody, even though he's completely stabbed and almost dying.
He just comes like sprinting down the hallway that's filled with henchmen from behind. He just kills them all. Like, I've been fine. I didn't get blown up. Like
Ace, Ultraman, and Shin Hayata, you know, they helped a little bit, but you know, they rallied a little bit after Moriboshi came back, but Moriboshi did like 90% of the work.
Oh yeah.
And then like maybe they took out one henchman each.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Marvel What If, where it's like 99% of the team's power is Doctor Strange and the other 1% is the rest of the team.
Yeah.
So basically what happens from there is they all get knocked out of the ship, they all escape, and they kind of enter a final battle sequence. They're going to be facing off against Black Sun Star. Oh my god, I keep saying it.
Well, what about Kataro? He was still on board the ship though, right? He
goes back on.
Okay.
He goes back on at the end.
All right.
But he doesn't do that yet, because remember, they need the awesome little team up shot over here where they're all together, because how could you not get an awesome team up shot?
Yeah. And they're not shooting those red lasers, they're being shot at with those red lasers. That's all coming from the Golden Fortress.
Yes. So
and Bemular's not actually there.
No, Bemular's not there. That's just for ad purposes. What we get is they're slow walking towards Black Star, and they've been teasing this suit upgrade.
Yeah.
For
the whole series, Shin Hayata's like, he's like, is it ready? And they're like, no, it's not ready. Is it ready? No, it's not ready.
Yeah. So, you know, he finally gets the call that it's ready, and all you see pop up on screen is upgrade initiated, Zafi. Boom. We get Ultraman Zafi. Well, at least this series interpretation of him. And this just kind of goes to like my head that we think that, obviously Shin is getting a little bit of his memories back from when he was Ultraman.
Oh yeah. No, I think at this point he's got it all mostly back.
Yeah. So we got this awesome suit, which is just it's obviously a riff on the suit that his son has, but it's just a kind of cool, it's a bit of a cooler design. You get these shoulder circles, you get the lights in the center. Yeah, the few aesthetics that kind of separates Zafi from regular Ultraman. And it's a pretty awesome suit, and it definitely gives him a power upgrade, a significant one.
Yeah, because it seemed like the suit that he was using, it didn't even seem like a suit. It was just like, it was like a half suit. It's like, well, what did you have before? I guess he had nothing.
Yeah, he had the prototype suit. Remember, he was fighting Bemular?
He's had the whole time. He had it was his prototype suit, the same one that he fought Bemular with.
Yeah, except he had a helmet. Yeah, well, he had a helmet in this season, but when he fought Bemular, he didn't have a helmet.
Yeah.
They finally gave him a helmet.
Yeah.
So, big fight. They're trying to kill Black Sun, but he's just like kind of no-selling everything up until we get this Zafi suit.
And then at this point too, we see Black Sun's got the ability to split. I mean, we figured, but he splits into 5 Black Suns and is fighting each Ultraman one-on-one.
Yeah, and with Shinjiro and Shin each fighting the main one.
Yeah, the 2 of them were fighting the main one, actually. Yeah, that's right, actually.
Yeah. So finally, they're like, okay, it's game time, because we're starting to run out of time. They're gonna destroy the entire city. We take the limiter off. We got the Zafi suit, and they're just going to town on him, and they finally all group together and kill him. But before he was dying, he kind of made it sound like he purposely died. He just goes, He goes, me dying is the start of this. He goes, this was all part of the plan.
Yeah. And we missed a little bit. He kind of like puts like almost like I don't even know what it was. Like he kind of like it didn't even look like they were really killing him. Like he kind of like put up like this barrier around him. So Shin and Shinjiro,
he was absorbing all of their
like
energy.
They're hitting him with the specium ray, the two of them, and it looks like they're not doing a damn thing. And then Bemular shows up and he unleashes his specium ray, which looks like it's like 5 of their rays put together, and that's what finishes, quote unquote, finishes off Black Star.
Yeah,
he was all for it. He's like, give me more, give me more. He's like,
he also had a golden transformation at some point during this fight, but it didn't really seem like it did that much.
No,
because he was already kind of overpowered, and then he turned gold, and he was kind of just like still kind of overpowered, but then they just killed him. But again, like they gave him this power up within like the last 2 minutes of this fight. Again, super abridged this series. They were really just trying to get everything in that they could, and I think they did a good enough job.
Yeah.
Not perfect. I'm not going to go ahead and say like, oh yeah, they did the perfect season. They did, the best. It is what it is.
They did a good movie.
Yeah, they did a good movie. That's what I'm going to say. This should have been a movie.
No, 100%. In my eyes, it was a movie. Yeah.
Taro has to make the ultimate sacrifice after this, and he has to destroy the ship. It was the Golden... What was
the Golden Fortress.
The Golden Fortress. So he goes supernova, blows himself up.
Inside the ship.
Yeah, inside the ship. He's reunited with his girlfriend. And you think he's dead.
Yeah, it seems like he's dead. He's on some plane.
Yeah.
Whatever that teleportation plane is where his girlfriend is. Izumi.
And they go... that's kind of it. Everybody leaves the fight. And they go back to the... I guess it's a soccer stadium where they fought Bemular in the first season. They go meet all the people that came back.
Yeah, all the people that came back got teleported to that soccer stadium.
Yeah, Shinjiro finally gets a kiss from Rena. He literally jumps like 30 feet in the air, and everyone's just like Shin's really proud, and like Jack's like, yeah, you go get him, Tiger. And then like Moribo's just like, oh, this kid.
He's like, I can kill him right now. He's like, he's right there. He's like, it's so easy.
And then like Ace is just like big brother.
Yeah, he's like, he's pathetic, but he's like, I admire him.
Yeah, and it's kind of like one of those like bittersweet things where they're all kind of happy because everything ended up being okay, but Taro is dead. From there, we get a cut back to Taro in kind of like space, but that same plane where his girlfriend is, and Bemular shows up, and he asked him kind of the same question that Ide asked Shinjiro when he was going to give him the Ultraman suit, which was like, are you going to fight for justice? Are you going to do what's right? And Taro says yes. I think he's finally accepted responsibility because he didn't want to be the light.
He got some closure from his girlfriend.
Yeah, so Bemular literally breathes Kotaro back to life and brings him back to the football stadium.
Yeah, he drops him out of thin air.
Yeah. So he brings him back to life, and Jack says, everyone's happy, they're celebrating again. And Jack goes, there seems to be a lot of Ultramen here in Japan. How about you and I go head back to USA and be Ultraman over there while they're Ultramen over here? And that's the wrap on the season.
Yeah, and that's that last bit there is what makes me think we could get a spin-off series. I mean, we got season 3 coming up in 2023. I don't know when.
Yeah.
But hopefully it's sooner, since we know Netflix is not giving anybody long seasons now, apparently, for when it comes to animated.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that maybe, I mean, I don't want to say that I don't want to see Jack and Kotaro next season because they're staples now, but I'm hoping maybe we'll get a spin-off series about the two of them. I'm guessing it's a long shot, but
yeah, it's possible. So some news came out. I think the day after this season dropped.
Yeah.
They did a teaser.
Even the day it dropped, honestly.
Yeah, they did a teaser trailer for Ultraman Season 3 on Netflix, and they said that it's the finale. That they're getting season. One last season, and it's going to wrap everything up, and that's going to be it. And before I get into any further speculation, because I think we're going to get into final thoughts and kind of like more spoiler-ish free stuff to bring to what people have skipped ahead to. I just want to bring a very small conspiracy theory that I have, and that is that Bemular is like totally like father of Ultra.
Yeah.
I mean, like their designs are like they're not exactly the same, obviously, but there's definitely some cues taken from each design. And just with him having such a powerful Specium Ray, he had his arm blown off, and then he kind of comes back, and it's like nothing happened. He brought Taro back to life.
He did whatever he did with Seiji. We don't know what he did.
He said he's not the first person he saved, which I thought was kind of maybe a reference to Shin Hayata.
Yep.
Possibly. I'm like, he's definitely, either the light from the original Ultraman in a suit, or he's father of Ultra. He's definitely some type of god tier entity, in my opinion. He has to be.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I just don't know why he's playing. I guess he's kind of playing God. He's only intervening
when he needs to.
When he sees fit.
Yeah. And I also think Moriboshi's an alien, but that's like that's for another video.
He's definitely an alien. But
yeah.
I would love more back. I would love a Moriboshi.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would love more backstory.
The hell out of a Moriboshi series.
I hope we get much more character development this season. I guess we'll wrap up into final thoughts and the Netflix news. So with this being the last season announced on Netflix, I half think that this is the team. It's either Netflix saying we're only going to give you one more season, or it's the team saying, hey, Netflix gave us another season. Maybe we should wrap it up because we don't want to be a show that doesn't get finished, falls to the wayside, gets canceled, like a lot of Netflix series do. And this is such a good series that it just end unresolved would be a complete shame.
No, it would.
So when I first heard, I was like, this is BS. I can't believe they're doing this. But after having a week of all this Netflix crumbling, I'm like, hey, they're getting a last season. There's so many shows that do not get this privilege. No, and I'm happy that we're going to get a conclusion to this.
And I don't know what this does for the... I mean, I don't know if they're ending on good terms or what with Netflix, but there's still supposed to be the Netflix Ultraman movie that they announced. I don't even know when, 2 years ago maybe?
Yeah, I think they're probably going to wait to see what happens with Shin Ultraman and just see what the reception was from that.
It looks awesome. That's all I know. Just the first 2 trailers, the teaser, the original trailer, and then the trailer that came out 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, Netflix is scaring me. I mean, the way Pacific Rim The Black Season 2 ended, felt like they could have continued that also. It still hurts me how they just killed the Dark Crystal series the day after it won an Emmy. I'm like, it just literally just won an award for best TV series for, I think they call it a kids TV series, and there was no way that was a kids TV series, the Dark Crystal, but that's neither here nor there. Netflix has become very notorious for canceling shows that are popular. unless your show is called Stranger Things or Cobra Kai, they're not keeping much around.
They really aren't. You know, and it's like the spending is just in such bad places.
Yeah.
I mean, the budget for an episode of Mandalorian is $15 million per episode. The budget for one episode of Stranger Things is $30 million. This newest season of Stranger Things that's coming out cost Netflix $250 million to produce.
Holy shit! I did not know that. Oh my god.
Yeah, they're sinking like Avengers Endgame levels of money into that show.
The final season.
Yeah, they're kind of putting it all on Stranger Things, but the problem is that I think everybody that's on Stranger Things has outgrown Stranger Things.
I haven't. I think it's definitely
no. I'm talking about the actors that are on it.
Oh yeah. No, the actors. Yeah.
They're like they're done with that show. Like they got the fame that they wanted from that. I think they're like contractually just doing these seasons now.
Yeah, they're gonna do the last season and be happy it's over.
And like Millie Bobby Brown's like, I'm just here because I have to finish out this series, and then like she's like, I'm on to doing leads in movies. Like you know, like she's gonna be the breakout star of this entire series.
Yeah. I mean, there's been a couple that came out of there, but.
Oh, I mean, there's a bunch of stars in that show, but like
the one kid who was in the It movies, Ghostbusters. He seems to be sticking to horror.
Yeah, but she's
all
as long as she stays on the straight and narrow and doesn't fall into like kid actor tragedy, she's gonna be the runaway star from that show.
Yeah,
without a doubt. But
anyway, back.
I'd say my hopes for season 3 is that we finally get this whole Star Cluster Council storyline wrapped up. I would like much more character development from these characters. Because it was such an abridged season of the show, the only character that really got character development was Kotaro, because they had to introduce a new character and get you to like him just as much as all the other characters in the show.
Yeah. Like I said, it only took place over a day and a half, barely. So there wasn't a lot of time for development to happen with anybody else either.
It's that's gotta be like my one big gripe with this, is that because it was such a fast pace and because it happened over such a short period of time, only a day and a half in the show, you know, they could only do so much with the character development. And I wish we would have seen more. We're starting to see Shinjiro come to his own and be Ultraman, but it's not like he was where he was at the end of season 1, where the limiter came off and then he had that extra aura around him, or, you know, seeing him easily access that. It's not like we got an expansion on anybody else's abilities. I would have liked Seiji's arm to not pop off in the first 5 seconds of him fighting.
It almost seems like it's like, oh yeah, Seiji's gonna lose an arm every time he gets into a fight.
Yeah, Seiji, yeah.
It's almost become like a trope with the show now.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, pop an arm off in the final fight, you know, make it mean something. But to a floating brain, come on.
Like they're not like his real arms, so he's like, oh yeah, if I lose it, I lose it. Like, so he's kind of just like reckless with them.
Yeah,
I get that, but
can we get Yapul to make an arm that can pop back on when it pops off?
Yeah, like a magnetic one, like yo, yeah, it could pop right back.
If he can fit an entire Ultraman suit into a pendant, you think you can make arms that can reattach?
Yeah, I mean, they could pretty much warp those suits to them. They teleport the suit. You're telling me you can't teleport an arm?
Yeah, those are like my just the little things with the show where I'm just like I get it's. If everything just magically happened, there's no adversity, it wouldn't be as interesting. But if you're gonna work up to a moment where the guy becomes an impaired fight, like, you know, impaired his ability to fight, make it happen in like the last thing, not to some like low level henchman.
Yeah.
That's honestly like my two big gripes with this season, was I wanted more from a Seiji. Because, again, he only got introduced in the last 4 episodes of last season, even though they gave him a lot of character development.
Yeah.
he probably has some of the most in-depth story of any of the characters, but he really seems like, even at the end of this season, he was like, he's like I went through all this stuff with Bemilar and I'm still second rate.
And they never show that girl that it was like his quote unquote sister that he grew up with. No. Like the alien that he was doing all this for. Like they've never even shown her. They only showed her in the flashbacks.
Yeah.
And like they were so concerned about where she was when that attack on the oil rig happened. Like they never even like showed her on screen. Like, who is she? What's she gonna be? Or are they just gonna be like, let's just kind of, we don't have time to do that. We're just gonna pretend he wasn't concerned about her, and we're gonna just carry on our story. I feel like a spin-off for the show is a must, but I just honestly don't think we're gonna get it. I mean, I'm hopeful for it, but
maybe we'll get, maybe this will be the thing where the show goes, I don't know what the right situation is. I don't know if this is like a joint thing with Netflix where it's like they own the right to the series, and if they want it to show up on another network, someone's gonna have to shell out big bucks. Or if Super Rider can say, hey, we're done with this series, we're gonna bring these characters over to a different series over on Crunchyroll. I don't know.
Yeah, I would definitely get a physical edition of the series once it's completed.
Yeah. I hope that we get something.
Yeah, I could have sworn I was reading something that there was a super limited release of the first season. I don't know if it happened in the States. It might have been only in Japan only. But I haven't seen it anywhere, and I don't know. It was a very limited run from what I understand. But I think we got to get, once the series is complete, they got to do a physical release.
Yeah. Let me look to see if I can find anything about that. But is there any other release news? We do have a little bit of release news.
Yeah, there's some releases we have coming up for what I call quarter two. In May we have we're gonna have Ultraman Meebus.
Yeah, which that's coming out on a 6 DVD set. It's gonna have the entire season. It's gonna have the movie and the YouTube specials.
Yes, they call them 6 movies, but YouTube specials. There's that. There's a Shout Factory movie, Dinosaur World. It sounds like a straight to TV type of movie. It's about a bunch of pro gamers. They take part in some VR tournament, and it becomes a matter of life and death. I'm assuming if you get killed by the dinosaurs in the game, you get killed in real life, is what I'm assuming. I'm not too sure exactly the full story of that. It seems like a little cash, and they're trying to do it because you got Jurassic World coming out, so they're like, we'll make Dinosaur World.
Yeah.
And then May 17th, we have SSS Dynazenon, the follow-up series to SSS Gridman. I'm excited for this one because Gridman was great. I mean, I love that. And I believe it's actually made by the same studio that makes Ultraman, actually.
No, yeah, I believe it is.
It's the same company does it. But it's been out. It was a Funimation release they did. It was streaming I want to say last year. And but it was only subbed, and according to the back of the cover art for this release, there's going to be English dub on it, so I'm excited for that. I mean, we watched Ultraman in dub too. This is what we're reviewing, but I don't have a problem reading subs, but sometimes just a dub is nice, especially for an anime. I don't mind a dub.
So if I'm gonna watch something that's subbed, it's gonna be by myself.
Yes.
If my wife is in the room, she is not going to watch 3 hours of a sub. She wants this to be easy watching. And if I want her to like something, like she likes Netflix Ultraman, she's not going to sit down and read the sub of it though.
No.
And I'm not going to sit down for 6 hours and watch the first season subbed in one shot. I'll only do that with a dub.
Yeah, yeah.
I am gonna go back and watch the subs, but I'm not gonna binge them.
Definitely. What else do we have besides that, though? We have Yeti China, the 20th Century. This one came on my radar recently, a couple of weeks ago, and then when I saw it was getting another release, I was like, oh, it's a 1977 movie. It was like the kind of like we're doing still riding the Kong hype, the Kong type of movie. It's about like the description literally calls it a half man, half animal creature. He's found in an iceberg off Greenland, and he ends up with like kind of a Kong relationship with a woman and the dude that find him. And it's like it's kind of a kaiju movie because the Yeti's big. It's not like a normal Bigfoot in the forest. He's like, we're talking, this guy's a couple stories.
Yeah, he's about the size of a skyscraper.
Yeah.
It's a King Kong, Italian King Kong clone.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
There was a printing in 2020 of this movie, but there's no. I haven't seen actually any like box art. It's just like a generic poster when you look up the Blu-ray. So this one looks like it's a little more legitimate release. And besides that, we also have all the Jurassic Parks and worlds are getting reprinted on Blu-ray 4K, and 4K with a 4K release in Ultra HD with digital and Blu-ray also. So if you don't have those in your collection, it's worth adding. I mean, it's Jurassic Park, Jurassic World. I know there's a lot of people out there that are not happy about Jurassic World, but I like the first one. I'll admit I didn't see the second one yet. I plan on seeing it before the third one, of course. But I'm excited for those. I mean, they did good for the Dino movies. And the only other release is another Netflix series is Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous. Now, I've only seen bits and pieces of this. My son, he was actually into just watching random dinosaurs. He's only 2, so he doesn't know what's going on. But I would watch a couple of episodes, and it was actually a pretty good story. And I saw a lot of people on Twitter are actually really into this series, and
I think Mom and Dad watched this series.
They watched it, yeah.
Which for them to watch an animated series is astounding, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And when I was watching, I was like, I think I would go back and actually just watch this myself. It seems pretty good, pretty cool story. So that's getting a part 1, a set 1 release, they're calling it. It's seasons 1 through 3. I think they're ending it in July with season 5. Netflix is ending another animated series. But this set's only $10 for 3 seasons on a DVD. I mean, if you have Netflix, you can go ahead and just watch it on Netflix. But if you want the physical copy of it, it's only $10 on DVD for 3 seasons. I don't know why they're not doing it on Blu-ray.
Probably because the same reason why they don't do the newer seasons of Power Rangers, and that's just like, oh, it's a kids show. Kids just watch DVDs. They're cheaper and they're easier and more accessible for the parents.
Yeah,
that's what the thinking is, and that's why I think only 1 season of Power Rangers has ever been released on Blu-ray. Super Samurai.
All right.
That's the only season to ever get a Blu-ray release.
Damn.
Yeah, and now no seasons are getting any releases. Thanks, Netflix. Yep, thanks, Netflix. Well, that's also on Hasbro, too.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think it's just, we have a lot of release news, and I think it's important to support these releases. If you're a fan of them and you're thinking about buying them, I would support them. Because it gives company a second thought to be like, oh, I'm going to sign over my rights to this streaming company and never, ever have a physical release until those rights run up again.
Oh, damn Criterion.
Criterion, and same thing with Power Rangers. Netflix owns the distribution rights for Power Rangers. And you can go on Netflix and watch 6 seasons of Power Rangers. You can watch Mighty Morphin seasons 1 through 3. It's 7 seasons. Beast Morphers seasons 1 and season 2, and Dino Force 1 and 2. That's it. All the other seasons, if you didn't buy them on DVD, you're not watching them.
That hurts.
Yeah.
Because it's on the list of things to rewatch, but I'm very focused on the Ultra series right now. I'm all gung ho. I'm squeezing Zone Fighter in there in between. I'm doing like I've been doing 2 episodes of Return of Ultraman, 2 episodes of Zone Fighter.
Yeah.
The quality of Ultraman, especially Return of Ultraman, is just blowing Zone Fighter out of the water though for me.
Yeah, which is probably why Toho just did 1 season and called it a day.
Yeah. I mean, the episode where Godzilla showed up was definitely like an oh shit moment. Like, it was like epic, but
yeah, but the fact that could sustain a series, like having Godzilla show up and him fighting like King Ghidorah and Gigan, and
yeah, I didn't get to that yet. Godzilla just fought like a random generic Zone Fighter monster, which is cool.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I think that
wraps
it up.
Release is coming out, and I think that about wraps this show up.
All right. So thank you guys for watching. Please again give us a rating and subscribe if possible. And we'll see you guys next time. We'll be covering probably a movie.
Yeah, we're thinking Gorgo right now, but
yeah.
We'll see.